you the Let's Make.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Let's Make. Today we're going to make two signs. We're going to make a tall sign and a short sign. Let's begin. As you can see, I've already applied my texture into the material editor. This is going to be our short sign. This is going to be our tall sign. And here we have a texture for the wood supports. So I'm just going to use like a standard 4x4 post, which is 0.1 by 0.1, and then make it about 3 meters, roughly 10 foot. Now I know the short sign's not going to use all of this, but what we'll do is we'll cut it to make it the short sign. That way we'll map the tall. It's already ready for the short one. I can't right click with this recording program. For whatever reason, Max doesn't like any recording program that I use, so I have to use a shortcut. So let's get rid of the bottom poly because it's not needed. Now you can see this is 4. Just drop it over there, select it, UV coordinates, unwrap. Let's flatten it. I will start with finding, we'll just start with that side. There's that. And we're going to snap them together. Let's see, let me make sure that's right. 2, 3, 4. Okay. And we'll just shove that anywhere. Convert to editable poly. If it wants to cooperate, let's try that again. There we go. Now, since we're here, we might as well, let's say that's 3, 5, 6, 4, and 7. So it's already, smoothing groups is done. Now we'll start with the tall sign. We'll just make it 0.05. Let's see. 2 meters by sure. What the heck? Convert to editable poly. Now I normally don't place it directly on, because in a lot of games, especially R Factor, you get them too close, and you could have some Z. You could have some Z fighting between the textures. So I usually give it, let's see, give it about a 0.05 gap. If you look at the bottom on the X. There's 0.05. And you can see it's really hard to tell that there is a gap. I know this that sign's a little big, so you know what? Let's just move that down a little. Let's square it off some. Okay, so we already have one of the pillars. Support's done. We have to clone it, so you can just, you can clone it here, but since this creates an issue. So what you can also do is just shift and drag. There's another clone option. I apologize for that. Now if you want to make sure these are exactly spaced correctly, what we can do is just go here, 0, 0, 0, 0, and let's do 0.75 minus 0.75. We just need to move them back. Okay, so now let's select the sign. Edit. Flatten. Let's figure out what's up, what's down. Let's see, let's rotate this way. There we go. So that is the face. Since we don't have a set texture necessarily for the back, we could have it gray, we could have it white, we could leave it wood. If you're going to add it to wood, I would clone this wood and double it up so we can put it as the back. It just depends on what you're going to do with the sign. If it is a wood-based sign, if it's a metal sign, then you can have a metal texture. If no one's going to see it, a lot of times on tracks, no one's going to see this sign, so it's kind of irrelevant what's on the back when no one's going to have a clue. So actually, we'll just keep it all gray. So let's shrink this down. Let's put those there if they'd cooperate. And here's this. All right, let's see what it looks like here. Looks like we can move it over just a little. Oh, wrong button. Good enough. So if you really wanted to make sure this was properly centered, you can always inset and say I want it in that box, apply the texture, and then just remove the lines. So there we have our tall sign, which works out pretty good. But now we'll make the short sign. Since this is all already mapped, and we already have the post mapped as well, you know what? Let's just clone it. Holding Shift, slide it over, convert it to editable poly. We'll move view, let's see, move that over to here. Just gonna wing it here and then put it down about there. Alright, so now I'm going to attach these posts together. There we go. I'm going to slice it. If you want to have it, let's say about that tall, what I normally do is I give it a little bit extra on the length when I go to slice it. Because if it's a flat surface, great. Then yeah, you could put it straight here, put the pivot point there, and it will land exactly perfectly flat on the ground. But if it's any type of slanted or uneven surface, you want a little bit of leeway in case you didn't make it exactly, each one the perfect height. So I just shoved the post down into the ground a little bit. So let's center it for this. So it would look like if this black line is the ground, I would do that. That way there's no gap in the terrain between the post. Alright, let's map this now. Since it's already has the material on it, well, I stretched it, obviously, but it's already mapped. So now all we need to do, especially when you have a billboard sheet, for example, where all of your billboards are on one texture. Well, this is one of the easier ways to go about doing it. So we'll just flatten it. Since everything's moved, flatten. That's not it. That's it. All right, let's rotate everything. Okay. Now, once again, for this example, I didn't necessarily have any backs to the signs. So I'm just gonna scale it all down and shove it in the black area here. And there's that. Let's see. I don't know if that's centered or not. So with my example before, let's convert to editable poly. Let's just slice it right down the middle. Let's rotate it 90. And let's just slice it. You can always grab the two edges and do connect, slice. Pretty straightforward process. Now we can select these two, go back to mapping. Let's see. That's close. It just repositioned a little bit. I'm going to say that's good enough. Let's convert it to editable poly. Alright, now let's remove these extra lines. So we go to edge mode. As you can see, it's already selected since it was the last thing we've done. But if it's not, go here and loop it. It's all selected. Now remember to hit Control and remove. And all the verts are gone. Because if you didn't hold Control and hit remove, it'll leave the verts. But you can still remove them that way. Now, if this was, say, snapped to this edge at one point, you might not necessarily want to hold Control to remove this because it will possibly mess up this corner bit. So you just select that edge and hit remove, and you might have to remove, say, the inside vert manually. Alright, looks like we got two signs, so let's render this out. There we go. Two simple billboards that would go on any track, any project that you need a billboard. You can always reshape the post to your liking, but as you can see, very easy to put in your own custom banners and billboards into your own track. Like the video, smash that like button below. Any questions or comments or suggestions, put it down in the bottom here and I will reply back to you. And as always, thanks for watching.